Alright, we'll get you guys set up. And about right there. Looks good to me. Okay. I need to bring up TikTok on this phone so I can follow along. There. Perfect. Now that I have shit set up, I can actually see chat. What's up, Cloud9? How are you? Alright, today we're tackling the Frost Giant. This guy. As you guys know, we've done the Fire Giant. And we've done the Storm Giant. So we really got to break it out of the box with this Frost Giant. And I think I've figured out my color scheme that I want. I've done a little bit of color experimentation here, and I think this is the one that I'm going to go with. Well, thank you so much for the likes, man. But I already know that I have to break this one down into stages, because I'm not tackling all of this at once today. That's just going to be too much for my little monkey brain. So, the first step, what we're going to do is attack his skin, and then I'll probably start with the base and do his axe today. At least that's my plan. I got my reference material for what I think I want it to look like up. So, hopefully, I don't entirely screw this up. I really hope I don't screw this up, because I don't have enough resin to print it again. And since we're going to be doing the skin, we're going to start with straight up the Citadel Starter Brush. I use this thing for everything, and it has treated me quite well. Also, if I'm being loud, tell me to shut the fuck up. If the music isn't loud enough, tell me to turn it up. I accommodate. A lot of people have told me, oh, you need to do a base coat on resin miniatures. Why? It's already gray. The downside to this is the wait time for each layer to dry. Because for the skin, it's going to be really tricky, because I want to do like an ice marble effect. But I need each layer to be most of the way dry. So hopefully we can pull it off. The gray, for once, is working in my favor. So that's one color I don't need to use now. There's that one. Yeah, this guy has so much detail. Like you can see heads of ships on his belt, his anchors and chains and other fine detail. And yeah, I'm just gonna take this one in stages, like I always tell people. I'm not gonna knock it all out at once like the fire giant. That one genuinely shocked me. I was not expecting to get that all done in one go. I guess the powers of hyperfixation kicked in. So that's my argument, especially when it comes to painting it. I assume you're talking about the painting in stages. Yeah, when it comes to bigger miniatures like this, especially when it's something that your players are going to stare at like a boss, definitely take it in stages. I don't agree with the philosophy of only put the highest amount of detail in the face and then work your way down, doing less and less. Because no matter where a player sits at the table, they should be able to see something that's really well done. So I always try to make each limb its own version of the face. So no matter which side the player's sitting, there's something they can look at. Something new that they might not have seen. God, I need new paint. My Citadel paints are getting really old. Let's shake it up. So far, this is going quite nicely over this resin. I told myself when I decided to paint these that whether or not it would take the paint, I would end up reprinting these. So that way I had one gray and one painted. So I was nervous when I decided to start painting these because I wasn't sure of how they were going to take the paint. But overall, I'm quite happy with it. Get all the little nooks and crannies of this dude's fingers. Like an idiot, I chose to attach the base to this before painting it. One of the biggest things I tell people not to do. And I did it to all three. So the plan for today is get a good way into this miniature of painting and then let it rest and we talk about BattleBots and what the plans for the channel are for that. Unfortunately, when you have a squirrel brain like me, you can't keep your interests all in one thing. If I did, I'd be a lot more successful. I'm sure. Sometimes you need it on the base. That's fair, man. That's fair. And I think that's also why I decided that I'd print a second one. Namely because these are meant for 32mm figurines, which is right on that mark of acceptable for US base. But they also had a 72mm option. And I'm like, ooh, I gotta see what it looks like when it's actually a giant statue. Okay. And I can definitely tell that I'm going to have to break out my dry brushing technique. A lot of miniature painters will tell you, oh, well, you should break out an airbrush. I'm like, no, I don't, that costs money. I don't have that amount of money. Or space. God. I wish I had that amount of space. I need to get back into printing my stuff. And that's how my Xenos are for my aliens. It does, but it doesn't. Ooh, painting. Welcome, everyone. Alright. And since this is just the base coat, we don't have to worry about the fact that we're painting over, like, his armbands, because we're going to go in and recover it anyway. It doesn't matter. That's the good side of it being the base coat section. So don't worry about it. If you get paint on something you shouldn't, like, oh, this is his beard. Oops. It's not going to matter at the long run, because base coat covers everything. Now, if you're in the contrast coats, or the dry brushing coats, and you screw up like that, then it's a little bit more of a issue. Been trying to get these orders out. You know, I feel ya. I took a small step back once I took this new job of taking new commissions and orders, but now that I have a consistent schedule, I'm going to reopen my commissions and orders, because a lot of the people that follow me on other social media really liked the rune sets I used to make. And I think it's about time to reopen those. That's what I tell people. It's just paint. You can always go over it. That is true. That is very true. It's just paint. Until it gets into the contrast area. Then it's a nightmare. And everything you do might be able to screw it up. People better than me can fix it if you screw up, like during dry brushing and stuff, but no. My brain just says repaint the whole thing. And we are just about done with this glacial blue, almost. Got some of his hand to do left. I had to shut my orders down until I got caught up. Yeah. Alright. YouTube, what the hell's happening with my music? Oh, you're just in a low section. Okay. Alright, and then we reform our tip. And that is the last dip I can do until I clean it off. Because I've gone far too long without re-cleaning the brush. We don't need to tell you excuse you, YouTube. I don't care about this ad at all. I want my music. God, I hate ads. And I refuse to buy YouTube Red because I don't want to pay for something that... Are we live now? We should be live. We live? We are good. Well, that was fucking weird. I lost mobile connection. That never happens. Okay. Well, now that his skin is done, I think we will start on the ship that's embedded in the snow. Yeah, that's what we'll do. And for that, we're going to need a little Steel Legion drab. Oh god, I hate the fact that these pots are drying out. Okay. Just a little on the tip. Form our tip. Perfect. My wife sent me a TikTok. Level and thinner, we'll give it some life. I thought about adding some thinner, but the last pot I put some thinner in, it did not like the paint at all. And I don't know if it's just the wrong thinner that I used or what, but these paints from Citadel I've had for 6 years now, so they're well past their lifespan, I feel. Go. Nice wood grain. Now the downside is I say we're not going to do the whole miniature, and I'll stick to that. I'll end the live, and then my brain will fight me in the middle of the night, and I'll probably end up staying up to like 6 a.m. painting this fucking thing. I'm putting them in drop bottles. I've seen a technique like that. Oh, painting all these icicles is going to be a nightmare. Why did I think this was a good idea? Why did I insist I was going to paint this? It's a horrible thing. This thing has just about the same amount of detail as the Haunt carriage from the last tabletop figurine game I played. Oh, good lord. Oh, do not shake the pot with the lid open. I will never make that mistake again. When I have minis with heavy detail, I take care of the detail first to get it out of the way. You know, I've thought that, but fuck, my hands shake more than an alcoholic's does. And I know for a fact, because I've done it, that I will paint over like the fine details of the chains, just because I'm an idiot. That, for me, I love the detail painting. It's getting to the detail paint that I have the issue with.
There's a lot to manage in life right now. Chase Secure Banking is
honestly, the worst part of this for me is I have to blend so many different colors of blues, greens, and whites for this snow. That's going to be the annoying part. And that's why I'm insisting that I'm going to do a multi-stage for this. Otherwise, I'm going to be drinking tonight.
I'm Coulter. I'm Trent. We are co-founders of Sunday. We created Sunday to create a better future for American Backyard.
You know, YouTube, if you could just, like, fuck off.
At Sunday, we use soil data
That'd be great.
to help people grow lawns that are better for people, pets, and planet.
Oh my god, I hate blending. Right? Like, it was really bad for this rock effect and the lava. Like, this is the best lava effect I've ever done, and it still looks like crap. I hate blending so much. Now, if we're talking making a piece of plastic look like it has genuine leather, and it's like soft and supple and slightly shiny, I can do it. It's fine. If we're talking about fire, fuck no. Go. Side of the ore here. And go in between the legs and get that side of the ore. There's that. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is get this boat done, get the axe done, and that's where I'm going to call it. Luckily, if I get the boat done, there's not too much snow that I'll have to do. And I can get the contrast painting on the wood done so it's actually wood grain. Not that my players will actually notice the wood grain, but I'll notice. Hello, new person. So, Isaac, since you're new here, what is your class? And what do you think your level is? Tell me the name of a car is for a video. Pontiac Fiero. Are you doing in-chat one-shot? I mean, I wasn't planning on it. That's a lot to throw on me, but I could totally do it. Alright. Looks like that wood is done.
Buying stale burnt coffee is like eating hot sushi out of a vending machine. It's just a no-no.
Seriously, this fucking YouTube ads need to go away. Fine. I'll go back to my Japanese lo-fi. There. Okay. Now from here, we're gonna have to do some really dumb ideas. Because for snow, especially ice and snow, you have to layer a lot of dark blues and greens before you start layering grays and whites, especially if you're planning on, like what I'm doing, of dry brushing the white on the top. So for a bit, it's not going to look like it makes any sense. But before I do that, I want to make this a rock that the ship is on, like snowdrift coming over to a rock. So that way it's not just all one whitish gray base. So what we'll start with, Mechanic Standard Gray. You know, looking at this, I might be able to do the whole damn miniature with the starter brush. We're going to pick out sections. I'm going to have to blend the snow on top of this rock, which I'm not looking forward to. Okay. Yep, now we switch to the darker. I'm terrible at painting minis and have been looking at the MMU devices. You're going to have to help me on that one. My autistic brain will not let me do acronyms that I am not previously acquainted with. So, huh? In other words. No, not Incubi Darkness. Where the hell is that gray that I liked? Here it is, Dark Reaper. There we go. And this gray has a little bit of blue in it, which I really like. So we'll start layering that in places. Multi-material unit changes filament automatically during the print. Oh, okay. An FDM printer with multiple heads. Got it. Okay, I understand what we're talking about now. Yeah, see, that is a little above my pay grade. I have an Ender 3, so you can tell that I am poor trash compared to that. My dumpster fire from Creality is, I wouldn't say functional, but occasionally will spit out a print that's correct. Okay. We'll go along the edge with this grayish blue to help put a shadow under the boat. And ore. So that way, when I go back in with the grays, that darker shadow pool is already there. There we go. As I said, it's not going to look like it makes any sense for a long time on this base. But it's okay. We'll get there. We will get there. And then the contrast layer will come in and you'll quickly see that all of the base coats are quickly changing their color. And it won't make any sense again. But it makes sense inside of my monkey brain. And that's all that matters. There we go. I too have the Ender. Nice! Which one? I have the Ender 3, not V2, it's just the Ender 3, but I have the later generation with the motherboard that wasn't supposed to go in it. That came in the, I think it's the Ender 3 Pro, but I got it in there. As I said, it functions, question mark. Alright. And there's those rocks done. For now. Base code. Seriously, even my lo-fi radio is getting ads today? This is stupid. This never happens. I swear, this never happens. See, the real fun is going to be when we start tackling this axe. Because I don't know how well it's coming across the camera. But there's this ice buildup almost that looks magical in nature. I want to make a really stark contrast to how the rest of this print is, with almost like glowing eyes. Oh, you're the touch sensor type. See, there's a very big divide inside of the 3D printing community as to whether or not to get the touch sensor. And I've just said, screw it. There's not enough consensus between us to figure out whether or not I want to try it. So I've just decided to say I'm just going to manually level my bed every time. Does it take 3 different times? Yes. If I sneeze in the same county, does it warp the bed in a slightly different direction? Yes. But that's the only way that I've learned, because I am self-taught. I didn't have anybody teach me how to do this. Which doesn't bode well when the community essentially tells you that to get the perfect distance between your nozzle and the bed, it's done by feel and the vibration. And I'm like, but what, you can't translate that to, there's not a consensus of exactness. I need to understand exactly what this is. So my first 6 months of printing were absolute hell. I modded for other advanced features. Manual leveling is superior. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay. I'm liking how this is turning out. I'm gonna, now that the skin is dry, go through again and retouch up some of the areas that I don't think quite have enough on it. You know, this is more turning out Draugr than it is Giant. And that's okay. Yeah, like right here. Wasn't quite enough paint. Definitely think I'm going to have to dry brush his skin a little with some white. Or silver. Ooh, I could do a silver. That'd come across nice. So, for those of you with Ender 3s, what do you think of the Micro Swiss all-metal hot-end direct drive upgrade? Or direct extruder gear upgrade? Because I have it in a box. And I just have not brought myself to actually commit to putting it on. Heavy. Yeah, it is heavy. There's that. Alright. Now he's touched up. Direct drive isn't necessary for most materials. Very true. I liked the higher precision and the ease for being able to do hot swaps for filaments, though. Because I really want to start getting into learning how to hot swap. And with the 1.5 mile long Bowden tube on the Ender 3, I figured a direct drive might be a little easier. Alright, skin is redone. Let's see, taking a close look at this axe haft. See leather material here. Metal, metal, metal. opposing metal, more leather, metal, leather, metal, metal, metal. Okay. Majority of it's going to be metal. I was given one, but refused to use it until I needed to do TPU. Huh. Interesting. I think the next step for the Ender, if I decide to actually do any more upgrades, is I need to get an enclosure for it and start setting it up for ABS printing. Because while PLA works really good for prototyping for my ant weights, I really want to start printing them in ABS. Because that's a stronger material for what I require. There. That out of the way. Ah! Don't shake. Okay, world's falling. That's fine. You get away. Go in your hole. And we need to break out our steel color. Which, my steel color of choice is Citadel Lead Belcher. It's really nice. I've successfully printed ABS without the enclosure using Draft Shield. Unfortunately for where mine is located, it's right next to one of the windows that I have to keep open for airflow in my apartment. So it's very drafty in my area. That being said, I still haven't learned to Draft Shield yet, and with the additional fumes, I'm worried about the buildup of that around my animals. So I've just said, screw it, I'll eventually get an enclosure. Luckily, the fumes are not horrible for the resin that I use for resin printing. Because that was a concern when I started. There's that. And for this dude, instead of bronze, like in our fire giant, we're going to put gold details. So steel and gold. Though I'm not sure if I'm going to do any rusting elements yet. I think I'm going to end up leaving that up to you guys when we get to the detail stage. I have the resin. It fails every other print. I've got really lucky with my Hullet 1. I was a little nervous when I started shopping around for them just because of the mixed reviews. But I absolutely adore my resin printer. For me, it was a lot easier to understand and learn than the FDM. Because there's a lot less settings you have to worry about. Okay, there's that. And in terms of the resin printer, all of the miniatures that I've printed have been on that Hollet 1. So I can definitely speak for its print quality, as long as you can get the prints to actually print. Which comes down to those settings. There's some of that. One more section of the steel color, and then we can start working on the leather. And the wood. Definitely got to add some wood elements into this. Alright. Let that set and dry up for a second. And the LD002H. It's almost like it's bleeding too much UV. As in around the screen into the tank where it's not supposed to be? Or that the exposure time per layer is too high?
Said it was left on the back porch. It wasn't. It was on the front. But you want it?
Of course I want it.
I know.
I've been waiting all day for this.
That's what I was kind of waiting on because I saw them down the couple blocks away. So.
Good news, everyone. Parts have come in. Specifically for the BattleBot. So we got our helping hands for the solder. We've got our soldering iron brand soldering iron. And we got our controller. So I will tackle those and do a teardown and show those off of live around the tank. Well, if it's around the tank, the only real thing that I can think of would be replacing the screen itself. But I don't know if you have an LCD screen or a mono screen. Because I know on the Hollet 1, it's really easy because screens are actually designed to wear out, unfortunately. So at least Creality thought ahead and made it relatively simple. Okay, time for some leather bits. So we need to break out our Bugman's Glow, which is that.
I'll go take it for his bath.
Okay.
Love you. Have fun on life.
Ah, crap. Don't make a mess. Don't make a mess.
Make all the mess.
Paper towels. They're over here. Furthest away from me when I need it.
Ready for bath time?
Did you stage the van?
Ready? Yes.
Alright. Let's clean up the paint pot. Because we don't want shit spilling. That was my bad because I don't take care of my paint pots. Okay. There's that. Alright. Let's try that again, shall we? Go. I wish I could get this damn camera to focus a little better. It'd be nice, but cheap old phones are cheap. Maybe one day if I make it big on TikTok, I can raise enough money to get better equipment. Maybe one day. For now, it'll do. Definitely gonna have to re-go over this area once I'm done doing the leather to repaint the skin, because I should have did this section beforehand and I didn't think about it. Because I never think about it. Never damn well plan these miniatures in advance like you're supposed to. Everybody seems to think they turn out alright though. Alright. And then that connects down to there. That's going to be the same. Alright. Okay. Under here. Finger. Finger. Palm. And his skin's back to blue. Yay. Okay. That Bugman's Glow will lose almost all of that pink. Turn into this nice leather after I get done with the contrast. I really like it. Okay. Let's see. How do we want to do the axe head? There's a lot of details, and I'm probably going to do those details in a gold. Actually, yeah, that would look nice. A black base. I'm going to need my Abaddon black. Gold for the filigree. And then do our ice on top of that. Before that, we got to take care of the wooden elements on this axe. So we can call the axe haft done. So we drop back to our drab, the same as our boats. Flip over this side. There's that. It's all starting to come together. Oh God. My poor Abaddon Black is just about at its limit. That is some chunky paint. Good Lord. It can't even stay open on its own. Alright. We should have enough for this project at least. Who the hell is calling me? Go away. I'm in the middle of doing something. And it goes without saying, we are definitely going to have to use a tiny detail brush for this guy. After our live, I will be posting update photos of this guy on our Instagram, so that way we can see where we left off. Alright, the black is on the X. What the fuck was that? Demon? Alright. Downside, this stuff doesn't dry very fast. But I'm definitely liking the progress that we've made so far. And once this side dries up, I'm going to go in probably with a white. Just a straight white and hit this ice area. Which will make sense after we do the contrast layer. I need my Corax white. Corax white. Okay, let that sit so I can see that in the contrast. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do nicely. The fun part, if you layer how much paint you lay in what area, it adds different tones of white. So you don't need to buy 12 different colors of white. If you're lazy and have no money like me. You know, that is the true reason I got a 3D printer in the first place, is because I'm poor, but I want D&D minis for my players and myself. And I discovered that through 3D printing, I could just make my own. I'd never have to pay for them again. So it made sense for me to get a 3D printer at that point. Unfortunately, I chose the wrong kind of 3D printer to start, because I started with the Ender 3, the FDM, when I should have went resin, but you live and you learn. You can still get decent results out of FDM from minis. I've made a few. Oh, I've made a lot, but since I've gotten the resin printer and I've actually got it set up and dialed in, I'm never going back. Like, the quality that you can get out of a resin printer for minis is insane. Even one as cheap as a Hollet 1. Which was no more expensive than my Ender 3 when I had bought it. Like, I'm even using water washable resin, so I don't have to worry about the stink of isopropyl. Yeah, I'm never going back to FDM for small miniatures. Now, what I use my FDM printer on is large projects. Like the Antweight bot, or I printed out several large-scale Viking warships for my players to actually move their miniatures around in as an actual full scale, and that turned out rather well. No doubt resin is better. I mean, it's just the attention to detail, because I don't know if it's necessarily unfortunately. In one hand, you have the FDM printer, which, as long as you spend the time to figure out how to dial in the settings, you can get ridiculously small layers. Versus the resin, which is already printing at really small layers out of the box. So you can get, like, I don't know how well my camera's going to show it, but you can get the little mini studding in the leather here. The individual waves of hair, just like, it's, for me, it's better. And as I've always told people, your mileage with the same hardware may vary. Because unfortunately, especially when it comes into the world of 3D printing, the same printer out of the box for two different people will behave two different ways. There we go. That Corax white is settling in nicely. Alright. Corax white, why aren't you closing? Suspicious. Okay. Brush down. angle cutters, which is not the right tool for this, but it's the tool I'm going to use. Do we have any dried paint around here? Not really. Okay. What's holding you open? Is it dried paint here? Yeah, it's dried paint here. Downside to never taking care of your pots, people. Downside. It's very important to do so. Screw it. I'm going to just say screw it. I don't have time to deal with it right now. That's a whole day project for me. Clean off the angle cutters and we're golden. Alright, from here, what I want to do is I want to hit the black on that axe again to really redefine out that outer ice shape. Okay. Get spots I missed. Like up here, up top. I completely forgot up top. Okay. That is correct. You're right. Into there. The rest of that is golden. Okay. Now, what we're gonna do is start a little bit of contrast layer. And why we're gonna do that is I'm using this contrast paint here as one of my base coats. So it's okay that we're skipping ahead a little. But I want to add just a little definition onto this axe head before we layer that gold. A little hint of blue, which won't translate to the camera, but that's okay. It's like a blue metallic sheen layer, almost. Okay. Ooh, that was almost bad. Paper towel! Shit, it was bad. It wouldn't be me if I didn't make a mess somewhere. Ah, crap. Okay. And so far, I think my plan's going to work with this. This Corax White is taking this contrast paint and doing exactly what I was planning. Which is good, because it's what we want. Alright. Now, so for you guys, so you can see, we're painting in that glacial blue contrast paint on top of the Corax White. And for your remembrance, that's what it looked like beforehand. So let this dry for a few more seconds, come in with a dry brush, and pick up all of the excess. Just wick it all away. So it only stays the areas we want it to. Yes. Okay. Now time to do that side of the axe. I think we're going to end up doing something I don't normally do. I think we're going to completely finish this axe from no paint to finished or product, and then move on to the rest of the giant. I don't normally do this, but I want something to end on. Some kind of highlight. And because I'm having a drop it day, I'm immediately closing that pot. A little bit more. There we go. Lay that contrast down. go. There. And now our glacial blue is applied to the snow. So now that snow is slowly turning into ice. Ooh, I need to refill my mod. Thank you all for the likes. Seriously. Seriously, thank you. Alright. Now, from here, we need the contrast so that I can start turning that Bugman's Glow into proper leather. And to do that, I need this. Reichland Flush Shade. I'll do a little right here so you can see. It just pools. You just adjust it around. It's a lot like welding. You either push or pull the pool wherever you want it to go. And I usually use a much bigger bristled brush for this, but I don't want to do too much, because I'm essentially just doing this as a gloss layer, for this, at least. I want to do a thin layer first, let that dry, and then go over it with the full thick layer of this contrast. And you'll see the pink just pop into this beautiful rich leather. Which you can kind of see from here to here. Contrast paints definitely bring a whole sense of life into a miniature. You can definitely get a lot more depth. There we go. Let that dry before we do the big sweep. I think for this purpose, I'm going to dry brush the gold details, just because I don't know if my hands are going to be steady enough today to be able to do the knot work by hand. Where's my cup? There it is. Get a drink. Alright. Brush box, brush box. Oh, here it is. Okay. Let's see. You're nice and fluffy. So we'll switch to our medium layer brush. And we'll attack the ship a little bit. So after researching it, the screen for my resin is 120, whereas a better printer is 210. I mean, definitely look into seeing if you can get a printer that you want. I definitely did a lot of research and discovered that the printer I got at the time was only like $30 cheaper than an Elgumar's at the time. And I don't know of whether you prefer LCD screens versus mono screen, but for speed, mono screen is the best, apparently, at the moment. And I'm enjoying my mono screen. I really am. I think my Howlett 1 is 180. about the O02H is a package deal with the wash and cure for $300. I got some good use out of it. I mean, it's good that you at least got some use out of it. I do not have a wash and cure station. I bought, I think it was a $30 ultrasonic cleaner that I use for my hollowed parts. And then I have a plastic pickle jar that has like an internal strainer that I use for everything else. And then I made a curing station out of a UV blacklight bar that I have for my own vitamin D deficiency problems. And then I made a box and lined it with tinfoil to be able to reflect the light. The cost to repair versus replace just doesn't seem worth it. I mean, yeah, if you're not particularly attached to a machine, it wouldn't seem worth it. For me, I think my screens are only like $60 and the machine's $180. Alright. Now we got the contrast paint on the wood. You can kind of see what the contrast paint does. It seeps into all the little details and just darkens them and makes them pop. So from here, I actually need to get another paper towel so I can break out my dry brush. So we can continue on our axe. Okay. Paper towel, check. Corax white. I need you. Abaddon black, you can go back in your spot. No, you're Grace here. I need Corax white. You're close, but not close enough. There it is. For those of you that might not know, dry brushing is a nerve-wracking ass technique. But fuck, is it pretty if it's done well. Okay. Get some paint into just the tips of the bristles. Then you do this, which might not make sense, but you have to get just about all the pigment out of your bristles. Just all that wetness. Bad. Okay. I think that's still too much, but we'll see. Then we go. Nope, it was just perfect. And the bristles will snag just the ends and edges. And you end up with this. And I fucking nailed it with that one. Hell yes. Finish up this back end. Do I have enough paint to be able to get this front section done, or am I going to run out? It was enough. Dope. That's perfect. Really clean out the brush. Because now we have to switch to our gold and get those gold details done on the axe head. Alright, where's my gold? Where's my gun? Here it is. Gold. Now I'm nervous about this one because there's not as much raised detail on the gold as there was for this ice. So I don't know if this is going to work or completely and utterly fuck up everything we just did. Okay, only one way to find out. Oh, if I'm just careful enough, I could pull this off. I think that'll do. Okay. So, there's our axe head, which has just enough gold for my liking. I say as I'm trying to apply more. Awesome. Frantically trying to clean out the dry brush so that way I don't get it stained. So I do not have enough money to get a new set of brushes yet. Okay, there's that. So, for all intents and purposes, that axe is done. And I like it. Turned out really nice and really well. I was nervous. Alright. And from there, I think we're going to call it there for now. And hit this again at a different live. So I'm going to set that there. And where is it? Ah, here it is. Next up on our project list is the assembly and painting, obviously, of our ant weight bot. Which, if you haven't seen the video, I had to change from our original design because some of the parts that I was originally planning on getting were no longer available to get. The speed controller from the company that I was looking at is out of stock. So, in interest of that and switching things up, I went with a different design, and it has a lot more room for us to start learning on. And in all honesty, I really like this tank-like design anyway. So, any questions about BattleBots from that? If not, I'm going to end the live here. So thank you guys, everyone for coming in. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the comments. This has been a blast, but I am fucking eye fatigued, so I'm going to call it here. Catch you guys next time.